Unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise, with healing in his wings. Unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise, with healing in his wings.
For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds. Unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise, with healing in his wings. Unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise, with healing in his wings. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds.
For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds.
Unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise, with healing in his wings. Unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise, with healing in his wings. With healing in his wings. With healing in his wings.
Shadow the speaker. Well, good morning to you all, brethren, and all the people who are listening to this video. I'm sorry we had a break in transmission and had some difficulties, which somehow we have been able to rectify. I hope you can all hear me and it's all very clear. Today we'll talk about a subject that all of you were hoping I'll cover today, because we have already finished the book of Ecclesiastes. Before that, let me give you an introduction. A study was done on what is the most popular topics searched on the internet, and it was found that 38% of the hits were on topics of adult content, including pornography, sex, etc. 28% was reference, 6% related to celebrities, and the remaining 28% was shared by shopping, lottery, sports, games, email, videos, children, music, academics, internet, astrology, TV, travel, news, finance, holidays, and movies. There's a whole lot of stuff, and that covers the remaining 28%. We had broadcasted a message like we do every week on some religious topic, and one of the topics that was covered was titled Game of Sex, and this was uploaded on YouTube, and believe it or not, we had got the highest hits on this particular video of the more than 75 videos we have uploaded so far. It shows very clearly that sex sells. The popularity of relationships, which include love, sex, and marriage, are foremost in the minds of all human beings. Even with animals, food and reproduction are the two main activities that occupy the time and energy of all animals. It is not uncommon in most Asian countries for people of asking the parents of children, boys and girls who have come to marriageable age, when will your son or daughter settle down? In other words, meaning when will they get married? It's a big question that is always asked in Asian countries. In animals, the only reason a male and female comes together is to reproduce. Some animals stay together for life, while others break up after mating is finished. There is no love, commitment, or responsibility involved or required, especially in the male of all animal species. The big difference between animals and humans is that a man and a woman comes together not just to reproduce, but for love, companionship, commitment, and it is meant to be lifelong. The purpose, and this is one more thing that is there, and this is connected with the spiritual plane, the purpose why God has made marriage is so that we can learn selflessness. Man by nature is selfish. There's a poem I received the other day from one of the church members, which I felt I should read to you, because it is connected with the message I'm giving today. It's talking about selfishness, and this poem is entitled The Hidden Foe. It goes like this. Oh, I could go through all life's troubles singing, turning earth's night to day, if self were not so fast around me clinging to all I do or say. My very thoughts are selfish, always building mean castles in the air. I use my love to others for a gilding, to make myself look fair. I fancy all the world engrossed with judging my merit or my blame. Its warmest praise seems as ungracious grudgingly of praise which I might claim. In new to age by city, wood or mountain, self is forgotten never. Wherever we tread, it gushes like a fountain, and its waters flow forever. Alas, no speed in life can catch us only out of self's hateful sight, and it keeps step wherever we travel slowly and sleeps with us at night. O Lord, that I could waste my life for others with no ends of my own, that I could pour myself into my brothers and live for them alone. Such was the life thou livest, self adjuring, thine own pain never easing, our burdens bearing, our just doom enduring, a life without self pleasing. This was written by F.W. Faber. Even though most of the world looks forward to marriages, and marriage is a big thing even today, in spite of all the problems we are having with marriage, all of us aspire to have a marriage, and according to the proverbial fairy tale, hope it will end with and they lived happily ever after. But few marriages achieve this goal, partly because most people knowingly or unknowingly enter marriage with selfishness on their mind. Marriage is the beginning of family, a lifelong commitment. It also provides an opportunity to grow in selflessness as we serve our wife and husband and children. Marriage is more than a physical union, and it is also a spiritual and emotional union. This union, and this is very important, this union mirrors the one between God and His church. Marriage can be more amazing than anything we have experienced or even thought of. If only we realize that we do not enter marriage to get, but to give to the person we love and the children that follow. Marriage is designed for oneness. When a man and a woman gets married, the two become one. It doesn't have anything to do, and it doesn't have in its scope for three to become one, four to become one, or 1,000 to become one. It is just one plus one becomes one. Marriage is a bond like no other. It gives us a life partner and a teammate as we move through the challenges of life together. It is designed for purity. We face temptations nearly every minute from all directions. The bond of marriage gives us the support to defeat temptation by engaging in deep, satisfying love, a love that gives to and receives from our mate physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It is designed for parenting. When a marriage produces a child, it is one of life's greatest blessings. Roughly 40% of children being raised today in homes have a home without either a father or a mother. The effect of this is staggering. Father's absence causes increase in mental and behavioral disorders as well as criminal activity and substance abuse, especially among boys. Without a mother, children grow up without the love and the nurturing only a mother can give, leaving them with relationship issues like inability to have a healthy relationship with the opposite sex, sexual abuse, and suicidal tendencies. So what we find is that a lot of problems arise when there is no lasting relationship between a husband and wife. And lastly, marriage is designed for love. Marriage is designed to mirror our Creator's unconditional love for us. It's a love that will always be there and will never leave us or forsake us. When a man and a woman love one another unconditionally, commitment and joy and contentment follow. One person who experienced little true love in spite of his multiple marriages or because of it was King Solomon. He was wise, knowledgeable, and grew in understanding by studying life and sharing his findings with us in the books of Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. The problem was the fact that he did not practice what he knew and therefore did not experience the depths of understanding that came only from action and practice. The Song of Solomon is a beautiful and vivid rendition of romance and love between a young man and a young woman, but unfortunately, in this case, with a villain in between. That villain is the author of Song of Solomon, King Solomon himself. Have you ever read a book written by a villain about villainy? It could make interesting reading. Maybe this could be an inspiration for some of our writers in our midst to write a book along those lines. Like the book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon is urging us not to make the mistakes he made. So let us begin our study in the Song of Solomon with some background information. King Solomon wrote 3,000 proverbs and 1,005 songs, according to 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 34. Verse 32. 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 32. This one is the ultimate song. Therefore, it is called the Song of Songs. There was some opposition to including this book in the Bible for several reasons. Some of the verses in the book seem to be confusing. There are many characters mentioned in this book. Solomon, who is the bridegroom, the Shulamite, the bride, the mother, the church, virgins, the saved and the sanctified, the upright, Christian walking in righteousness, kids, new converts, mothers, children, worldly church members, not the children of God, daughters, daughters of the world, sons, sons of the world, watchmen, ministers, and ecclesiastical authorities, queens, Solomon's wives, concubines, Solomon concubines, and a little sister, underprivileged Christians. So these are all the things that we can see when we read this book. These terms will come up from time to time. Then there is the shepherd boy, whom the Shulamite woman loves, and there is Solomon, whom she also loves in a limited way. There is difficulty in understanding in some cases because this book has been translated from Hebrew to English, and in some cases the English is not very clear about the masculine or feminine and who is speaking to whom. Now in the translations, many translations in the Bible, you'll find out the book of Solomon, it will tell you in the beginning who's speaking to whom and every section of the book. In the Hebrew, there's not that much of a problem because it's much more easier in the Hebrew to know whether it's male or female because of the nouns, particular nouns and pronouns that are used in those particular cases. The theologians who are making the decision of which book should be included in the biblical canon found the Song of Solomon also too explicit in its sexual undertones. Solomon won and the Song of Solomon became a book in the Bible. And one of the reasons why it was made a book in the Bible because it was written by Solomon. It was clearly known Solomon had written this book. But we find this book is an allegory of Christ the lover and the church the beloved. And the third wheel, the mister in between, William Satan and the attractions of this world. So it's interesting when you look at this book, and if you read the book just like that, you're not going to understand all the allegorical depth of this particular book. And I hope my explanation of this book will help you better appreciate the Song of Solomon, because I'm sure all of you would have read this book and not quite made up your mind what it really meant. On the face of it, it looked like just a dialogue between a lover and the one loved. But there's more to this than meets the eye. So the question is, what is happening here with the Song of Solomon? Now Solomon frequently visited the various parts of his kingdom. He was a king and he went around with his courtiers going through all the areas of his kingdom. One day as he visited some royal vineyard in the north, his royal entourage came by surprise upon a beautiful peasant woman tending to the vineyard. Embarrassed, she ran from there. Solomon could not forget her, so he sought to make her his wife, even though she loved a shepherd boy. In those days, kings could take any woman in their kingdom that caught their fancy, and any woman that just happened to be passing through the kingdom that became king's property if he so wanted to. We see that happen in the case of Abraham when he went to Egypt and the king was attracted by Sarah. And there are several instances in the Bible to show similar things happen even in those days. So it was not uncommon for kings to take wives of any woman that caught their fancy, whether they were in love with somebody, whether they were betrothed to another person, or even married to someone else. And if there was any issue or any opposition, they would just kill the husband and take the wife. That happened in the case of David and Bathsheba. So you can see what was the culture of that particular time. So the Shulamite woman dare not tell Solomon that she was in love with someone else. So she sought him out in secret and yearned for him in spite of being married to Solomon. Solomon took her to his palace and married her. The Song of Solomon talks about this love triangle, where two men love the same woman, and the woman is torn between her alliance to a powerful and rich man who held the power over life and death, a heady combination, hard to resist, and the one she truly loved, a poor shepherd boy. This song depicts the love of Christ the shepherd boy for us, his church, and we have for him, that is for Christ, but reluctantly share that love and desire for this world. So that is what the book of Solomon is really talking about, this love triangle which we have with Jesus Christ, with God on one hand, and the world on the other hand. Now these kind of marriages don't quite work, and we can see from this particular situation how that can happen, and Solomon is trying to show us through this song how this thing can happen. The Song of Solomon starts in verse 1 and then in verse 2. Let him kiss me, it says. And you can see that love connection that is there between this young man and this young woman. And this causes tension and confusion when a person's love is shared by many. No true love relationship can occur. And that is why I said in the beginning, Solomon never experienced true love because he had too many wives. And God did not ordain that any man should have more than one wife or a woman have more than one husband or lover, whatever it may be. The Bible tells us in Matthew 6 verse 24, you can't worship two gods at once. Loving one God, you'll end up hating the other. Adoration of one feeds contempt for the other. You can't worship God and money both. In the same way, you can't love two women or three women. The same with the man. You'll either love one and hate the other, or love the other and hate the one. So it doesn't work. Basically, what God is saying, it doesn't work. That's why God used to be so angry when the nation of Israel went astray. And we can see it went astray. He started worshipping other gods. Yes, For your love is better than wine, headier than your aromatic oils. The of your name murmur like a meadow brook. No wonder everyone loves to say your name. Take me away with you. Let's run off together. An elopement with my king lover. We'll celebrate, we'll sing, we'll make great music. Yes, for your love is better than vintage wine. Everyone loves you, of course, and why not? I am weathered but still elegant, O dear sisters in Jerusalem. Weathered, darkened by, like Kedar desert tents. Time softened like Solomon's temple's hangings. Don't look down on me because I'm dark, darkened by the sun's harsh rays. My brothers ridiculed me and sent me to work in the fields. They made me care for the face of the earth, but I have no time to care for my own face. Tell me where you're working. I love you so much. Tell me where you're tending your flocks, where you let them rest at noontime. Why should I be the one left out, outside the orbit of your tender care? Now you see a lot of things are going on in the mind of this Shulamite woman. She thinks that people look down on her because she's darker and she's not able to have the time to look after her looks and her personality. She's just an ordinary, simple lady, young lady. But somehow King Solomon took a liking for her. So she says all these things and she's saying it to her lover, and the man, the shepherd boy, answers, if you can't find me loveliest of all women, it's all right. Stay with your flocks, lead your lambs to good pastures, stay with your shepherd neighbors. You remind me of Pharaoh's well groomed and satiny mares. Pendant earrings line the elegance of your cheek. Strands of jewels eliminate the curves of your throat. I'm making jewelry for you, gold and silver jewelry that will mark and accent your beauty. And you can see this man, he's not looking at outward appearance, he's looking at inside beauty. And he sees that beauty and he enjoys it and he's expressing it in words. The woman, when my king lover lay down beside me, my fragrance fills the room. His head resting between my breasts, the head of my lover was a sachet of sweet myrrh. My beloved is a bouquet of wildflowers picked just for me from the fields of Engedi. The man, oh my dear friend, you're so beautiful, and your eyes so beautiful, like doves. The woman, and you, my dear love, you're so handsome, and the bed we share is like a forest glen. We enjoy a canopy of cedars enclosed by cypress, fragrant and green. Now, all this probably, these words were said probably before Solomon happened to come along. At least it appears when you look at this whole thing. And you can see the love between this man and this woman. Song of Solomon, second chapter. I am just a wildflower picked from the plains of Sharon, a lotus blossom from the valley pools. The man, a lotus blossoming in a swamp of weeds, that my dear friend among the girls in the village. The woman, as an apricot tree stands out in the forest, my lover stands above the young men in town. All I want is to sit in his shade, to taste and savor his delicious love. He took me home with him for a festive meal, but his eyes feasted on me. Oh, give me something refreshing to eat, and quickly. Apricots, raisins, anything. I'm about to faint with love. His left hand cradles my head, and his right arm encircles my waist. Oh, let me warn you, sisters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles, yes, uh, by all the wild deer. Don't excite love, don't stir it up until the time is ripe and you're ready. Look, listen, there's my lover. Look, you see him coming, vaulting the mountains, leaping the hills. My lover is like a gazelle, graceful like a young stag, virile. Look at him, there, there, on tiptoe at the gate, all ears, all eyes, ready. My lover has arrived and he's speaking to me. Now you can see again here how this lady in love looks upon the man she loves, and she sees and she thinks about all the things that are happening in her life. The man, get up, my dear friend, fair and beautiful lover, come to me, look around you. Winter is over, the winter rains are over, gone. Spring flowers are in blossom all over. The whole world's a choir and singing. Spring wobbles are filling the forest with sweet arpeggios. Lilacs are exuberantly purple and perfumed, and trees fragrant with blossom. Oh, get up, dear friend, my fair and beautiful lover. Come to me. Look, my shy and modest dove. Leave your seclusion. Come out in the open. Let me see your face. Let me hear your voice. For your voice is soothing and your face is ravishing. The woman, then you must protect me from the foxes. Foxes on the prowl. Foxes who would like nothing better than to get into our flowering garden. My lover is mine, and I am his. Nightly we stroll in our garden, delighting in the flowers until dawn breathes its light and night slips away. Turn to me, dear lover. Come like a gazelle, leap like a wild stag on delectable mountains. While the woman is in the palace of the king, she yearns for the one she loves. This these kind of relationships where there's a triangle, love triangle, and triangle rarely works. Nobody is happy in such a relationship, loving one man but married to another. And this girl is, or this lady is in that very difficult situation. And we can see now when you look at it the way Solomon has put it, how we are in our lives in a difficult situation. And as I go along, I'll explain some of these things to you. And then we begin to see how things she relates what happens that causes this particular situation in her life. Chapter 3. Restless in bed and sleepless through the night, I longed for my lover. I wanted him desperately. His absence was painful. So I got up, went out, and roved the city, hunting through streets and down alleys. It appears that she's already in the king's palace at this particular time, and she leaves it because she wants her lover. I wanted my lover in the worst way. I looked high and low and didn't find him. And then the night watchman found me as they strolled in the darkened city. Have you seen my dear lost love? I asked. No sooner had I left them than I found him, found my dear lost love. I threw my arms around him and held him tight. Wouldn't let him go until I had him home again, safe at home besides the fire. Oh, let me warn you, sisters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles, yes, by all the wild deer. Don't excite love, don't stir it up until the time is right and you are ready. And basically, she's warning the sisters of Jezebel, people around, to only when the time is right get into a love relationship with others. It is good what the love relationship is good, but there is also a time when this has to be done and not to be done at any time that you think best. What's this I see approaching from the desert, raising clouds of dust, filling the air with sweet smell and pungent aromatics? Look, it's Solomon's carriage, carried and guarded by 60 soldiers, 60 of Israel's finest, all of them armed to the teeth, trained for battle, ready for anything, anytime. King Solomon once had a carriage built from fine grain Lebanon cedar. He had it framed with silver and roofed with gold. The cushions were covered with a purple fabric. the interior lined with tooled leather. Come and look, sisters of Jerusalem, oh, sisters of Zion, don't miss this. My king lover dressed and garlanded for his wedding, his heart full, bursting with joy. And she's telling you a little bit of this other lover, which is the king in this case. So she has two lovers that she called king's lovers, and she is attracted to him, not because of him, but because of his riches, because of his power, and that's why she's describing his carriage and all the guards and all those things. She's attracted to this man also. Chapter 4, the man or King Solomon, this is what he says. You are so beautiful, my darling, so beautiful, and your dove eyes are veiled by, by your hair as uh, by your hair as it flows and shimmers like a flock of goats in the distance streaming down a hillside in the sunshine. Your smile is generous and full, expressive and strong and clean. Your lips are jewel red, your mouth elegant and inviting, your veiled cheeks soft and radiant. The smooth lit lines of your neck command notice. All heads turn in awe and admiration. Your breasts are like fawns, twins of a gazelle, grazing among the first spring flowers. The sweet, fragrant curves of your body, the soft spice contour of your flesh, invite me and I come. I stay until dawn breathes its light and night slips away. You're beautiful from head to toe, my dear love. Beautiful beyond compare, absolutely flawless. You can see the words that are used are so picturesque, so graphic. No wonder some of the older generations found this book, almost what you'll call it, like something for adult consumption, and not it should not be read by everybody, and things like that. But it is deliberately put that way because you know what? That's the way God looks upon us. Jesus Christ looks upon us. He loves us so much. Going on here is, come with me from Lebanon, my bride. Leave Lebanon behind and come. Leave your high mountain hideaways. Abandon your wilderness seclusion, where you keep company with lions and panthers. Guard your safety. You've captured my heart, dear friend. You looked at me and I fell in love. Oh, look my way, and I was hopelessly in love. How beautiful your love, dear friend, far more pleasing than a fine rare wine, your fragrance more exotic than select spices. The kisses of your lips are honey, my love. Every syllable you speak, a delicacy to savor. Your clothes smell like wild outdoors, the ozone scent of high mountains. Dear lover and friend, you're a secret garden, a private and pure fountain. Body and soul, you are paradise, a whole orchard of succulent fruit, ripe apricots and peaches, oranges and pears, nut trees and cinnamon, and all scented wood, mint and lavender, and all the herbs aromatic, a garden fountain sparkling and splashing, fed by spring waters from the Lebanon mountain. Now, when you look at this Song of Solomon, it's really good the way it's written. And anyone is interested in someone who wants to marry someone, take some inspiration from these words and use it for, for your lover. Okay, and I'm sure they'll be impressed. Now Solomon loved the Shulamite bride, who also loved him, but she had, as we have seen, another lover. She was attracted, I said earlier, to his riches and power, and he enticed her with much words. That's exactly what happens to us in this world. We are enticed by the world. The world is attractive. There's a lot there that we love to and long to have. But at the same time, we have another person that we really love, and that is Jesus Christ. That is, if we are Christians. And All this makes it difficult for us, especially if our love is divided between the two. It can cause a lot of tension. And this is something we'll go through our whole life and we struggle with it. It's like swimming against the current. That's what happens. And chapter 4 goes on with the last part where the woman says, "Wake up, north wind, get moving, south wind, breathe on my garden, fill the air with spice fragrance, or let my lover enter the garden. Yes, let him eat the fine, ripe fruit." Now, there are lessons for each of us to learn if we earnestly study this book and practice it. What do you find this Shulamite woman, even in the absence of the one who is close to her heart, even in his absence, she tries her best to be loyal to him. This is how we should be with Jesus Christ. He is our first love, and we should not leave him for the things of the world. Even in his absence, we find the Shulamite woman remains faithful to the one he loves. And often it can happen that absence can make the heart grow cold when it should make it grow fonder. Jesus is coming. We don't see him here right now. Even though we love him, we don't see him very often. Sometimes the Shulamite woman went through the same difficulty. We go through the same difficulty in our lives. So we should be careful that we should not be distracted by the world, but go forward to meeting him because Jesus is coming soon. He's not here yet, and therefore we have to remain faithful. In his absence, and number three, in his absence, you look forward to their future. And there's here an interesting scripture in the Bible in John 14, verses 2 to 3. Jesus said, "In my house, in my Father's house, there are many mansions. If it was not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also." Now, there is a little bit of cultural issue or cultural overtones that we may not fully understand from this particular scripture. What is Jesus actually saying here? He's going to his kingdom to prepare a place for us because he is the husband and we are his bride. In the olden days or even today, when a man wants to marry a woman, the first thing he does is to find a place where they can stay, where they can enjoy each other in privacy, separate from everyone else. What Jesus is saying is, I'm going to prepare a place for you so that I can take my bride to that place. That's what Jesus is saying. Now, God expects us, Jesus expects us to be faithful to Him. And this woman tried her best to be faithful to her lover. She was forced to stay with the king. And she looked forward to have the right kind of marriage, the good kind of marriage, whenever it was possible, whenever she could escape from the king. And that was nothing to be ashamed. However, if she was not really faithful, she would not have been looking forward to meeting the one she loved. If we are not faithful, we won't look forward to Jesus Christ coming back, isn't it? If we are faithful, we will yearn for that day when He can come back and meet us. The Lord's Prayer also says that thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth. That's what we are yearning for. We are yearning that His kingdom will come and we can be with Him. The Bible tells us in 1 John chapter 2 verse 28, and now little children abide. That means in other words, remain faithful in Him. That when He shall appear, we may have confidence and not be ashamed before Him at His coming. So we can see how this Song of Solomon gives a lot of depth to our spiritual relationship we have with Jesus Christ. Let us have the faithfulness of the Shulamite girl and allow the shepherd to speak to us. We will struggle in this world held captive, constantly swimming against the current, and that tries to pull us towards the world, while we make every effort to move to Jesus Christ, our lover, our King, ours forever. Please bow your heads in prayer. Our eternal God, our Father in heaven, how great you are, and how great is your Son, Jesus Christ. So strong, so faithful, so loyal to us. We lack that loyalty and that faithfulness. Our attention is diverted with the things of this world, and very often we get drawn away and trapped in this world, even before we know what's happening. Father, you've given us an understanding and you've given us a discernment. You've given us your Holy Spirit to guide us so that we do not fall into the trap that so many people in this world have fallen, only to realize that nothing on this earth ever satisfies. Just like Solomon found after going and enjoying all the things this world had to offer, he realized that it was worth nothing. Father, help us not to make the mistakes King Solomon made. In some ways, he was a noble person, and you actually inspired him to use his experiences to teach us important lessons in life so that we may not make the mistakes King Solomon made and go through all the trials and the sufferings that he went through unnecessarily. Help us, Father, in this process as we go through with this journey in studying your Bible. There are so many things you want to teach us. There are so many things you want to stress to us, to underline and to highlight things in the Bible so that we will pay attention to it. We will internalize the information that you're giving us and act accordingly and not fall into the pitfalls and the ups and downs and the dangers that so many people in this world have faced. Guide us, Father, in the process. Help that our priorities and our attention is focused in the right direction so that nothing in this world will entice us and lead us astray. Thank you for teaching us so many things, Father, from this book, the Song of Solomon. And as we go along in the rest of the book, Father, as we take this journey, help us to learn more and more. Help us to look at the emphasis that is being made in this book. And as we learn and King Solomon teaches us the things, the way we should live our lives on this earth. Thank you for all the wonderful blessings and the opportunities that we've had. And for this opportunity we have to listen to your word. And we ask all this in Jesus' holy and most blessed name. Amen.
Pressing on the upward way, new heights I'm gaining every day, still praying as I onward bound. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. My heart has no desire to stay where doubts arise and fears dismay. Though some may dwell where days abound, my prayer, my aim is higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. I want to scale the utmost height